This is Penn Jillette, Las Vegas, Nevada, sitting here with Michael Goudot for another CBS Free FM show. And I guess I'll ask you, Mike Goudot, how excited are you about our guest today?
Yeah, I just can't even begin to explain.
I mean, isn't this your biggest hero?
This is my biggest. It's pretty much my biggest hero in the world. Yes,
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had big heroes.
Norman Borlaug, Richard Dawkins.
Norman Borlaug. We already had Norman Borlaug. You just said the name.
I blew it.
I was going to do a big build.
You're doing a big build up.
Everybody knows who we're talking about. We're talking about Professor Doctor. What do you say? Both of them? Professor Doctor Richard Dawkins, who is the if atheism had a pope, it would be. How's that for damning with faint praise? It would be Richard Dawkins. He's at Oxford. He's written the first book he got famous for was the Selfish Gene. Maybe the first book he wrote, I think. And big evolution guy. And the latest book, The God Delusion, which has a quote from us on the back. For us, I mean me and Teller. You don't have a quote on the back of that. And we're going to have him on for the whole hour. If you have questions for Richard Dawkins, 866-570-PEN. That's 7366. That's 866-570-PEN, 7366. PenRadio@gmail.com, PenRadio.com. We did not announce to anyone that we were having Richard Dawkins on today, and we still got Gmails with questions because of the rumors we were going to have him on. So I guess without further ado, I hope he's on the line. Are you there, Richard?
I'm there, yes.
Good. So how's the book doing?
It's doing fantastically well. It's well up on the bestseller list at the moment, and we're trying to push it up to number 1 on Amazon.com. But I'm afraid the number 1 is going to be very hard to shift.
What is the number 1 now?
Senator Obama.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Senator Obama, did you read the quote? I mean, it's taken out of context in order to make us happy. But the quote he said about faith?
I didn't read that.
He's a wonderful quote, because apparently he's very anti-creative design.
Good.
Intelligent design being taught. And his quote was that he doesn't care much for faith. He only cares about things he proves.
Good.
He can prove.
You're fairly faint, Penn. Can you turn the volume up a bit?
Is there any way we can get it a little bit louder for Richard? Oh, the engineers are all scrambling. So,
okay, thanks very much.
We'll work on that, Richard.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great. You're coming across great. Because they're working on you. They're working on you in New York. We have talked about, of course, a zillion times on the air already, the God Delusion, and we're huge fans. I think everybody listening to the show knows about the book. But why don't you just talk a little bit about how you went from, Selfish Gene and the earlier books are very much you deal very clearly with the idea of God, but you don't really come right out and do what the new book is, which is really an atheist manifesto. How'd you go from the out of science into philosophy a little more?
Well, I think when I wrote The Selfish Gene 30 years ago, it wasn't really necessary, because at that time it looked as though religion was just dying. And so I wrote a book about science, and science is my main love. And to me, it was sufficient in those days to explain about science, especially about evolutionary science, and the withering away of religion would just kind of follow on. That hasn't happened, especially in America. Religion has gone on to wither away in Europe and in Britain. About 6 years ago, I proposed to my New York literary agent that I should write The God Delusion. And he was horrified. He himself is an atheist, of course, as all intellectuals are practically. But he said, you'll never sell a book about atheism to an American publisher. So he wouldn't let me do it. But now, 6 years on, he's changed his tune, and the publishers seem to like it very much, and it's selling like hotcakes.
The number 3 breakfast special. I'm going to let. I'm just seeing that the phones are lighting up, and although I could certainly talk to you for much more than an hour, I want to get a few of the listeners on, because they'll probably have some good questions here. We got Claudia. Claudia, you're talking to Richard Dawkins. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear okay, Richard?
Hello.
I can hear. Yes, that's fine.
Good. Go ahead, Claudia. Claudia?
Hello?
Claudia. Hello, Claudia.
Okay, here I am. Hello?
Go ahead. Yes. You've got Richard Dawkins on the line. Why don't you ask him a question?
Sure. I was wondering where you thought that moral values came from.
Well, the one place moral values don't come from is the Bible, and you can easily tell that by the simple exercise of reading the Bible. If you do that, you'll be horrified by the morals that you learn from it. So they do not come from the Bible.
I agree with you, but I didn't, people always come up with that question
It's a utterly bizarre question to ask. Of course, you can find nice verses in the Bible if you look hard, and you can find horrible ones. And what we do is we pick and choose the nice ones, but we have to have a criterion for deciding which are the nice ones. And that criterion is available to us whether we're religious or not. Now, moral philosophers over the centuries have developed the theory of morals, and it's sort of things like the golden rule, do as you would be done by, do to other people as you would wish them to do to you, and more sophisticated versions of that. And we all of us actually live by that kind of principle. So religion is pretty irrelevant to morals.
What about the argument, and I think Madeleine Marie O'Hare made this, that if you are religious, you cannot be moral because you're not doing it because it's good, but rather because of reward or punishment.
Yes.
Do you buy into that argument at all?
If the only reason you do good is because you're afraid of being watched by the great surveillance camera in the sky, you're afraid of going to hell if you do bad and you want to go to heaven, that's a pretty ignoble reason for doing good. People who do good for the sake of doing good are the ones we should really respect.
Any other questions, Claudia?
No, that answered my question. Thank you so much for your time. Love you guys.
Oh, thanks so much. Thank you. I think we should also put in that Claudia did throw in there that she very much agrees with you. She just wanted to know how to answer that question when she's asked it.
I think I gathered that, yeah.
866-570-PEN 7366. I got a letter here that someone wrote in from New Zealand. I understand that there's a possibility of Richard Dawkins appearing on your show later today. If so, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask him a question. Richard, I admire your attempts to instill logic and reason into the minds of faithful zombies, and I find myself wondering if you considered a more, excuse the pun, intelligently designed approach to subverting the troglodytes. Logic is a tool of the devil, so perhaps the best tactic is one that uses stealth or humor.
I know, yeah.
Hail Xenu, Chris from New Zealand.
Okay, that's a point of view that I'm meeting increasingly in letters that I'm getting on this tour. Many, many people are saying, yes, of course, you've got logic on your side, but what's the use of logic when you're dealing with illogical people? You have to appeal to their emotions, you have to say what will comfort them. Well, I can sort of see what lies behind that. It's not my way, however. Maybe there are other people who can approach the problem in that way. But logic and reason and science are the only ways I know. That's what I do best. So I'm going to carry on doing that. Maybe other people can pursue the emotional tack.
And speaking of which, I read the transcript. I did not watch the tape of it, but I read the transcript of you on Colbert. I'm on there next Thursday. Need tips? Did you like the way that went?
Yes, well, I had been warned. When I first saw him, when he was interviewing Kenneth Miller, I was absolutely aghast. I was outraged because I didn't tumble to the fact that he wasn't for real. That's what I. But I'd been fully briefed and fully warned and fully trained, and Colbert himself came into the dressing room and introduced himself and said, "You do know I play a complete idiot, don't you?" And so I was fully prepared. I think he's an awfully nice man. I like him a lot.
Now, did he tip his hand at all? Did he say that he was an atheist?
No, he didn't say that. And I mean, opinion seems to be about 50-50. Some people think he is an atheist, some people think he isn't. I'm inclined to think he probably is what he says he is, which is a Roman Catholic. But a Roman Catholic of a very, very unconvinced type. I should imagine he's the kind of person who vaguely gets a warm glow when he thinks about his Catholic upbringing. But as to whether he actually believes in a supernatural being, I suspect he's probably too intelligent for that.
Well, that brings up a